Imagine you're an attorney and you represent a client whom you owe a fiduciary duty. You have a winning case, but the judge rules against you. It's so fishy and reeks of corruption, and so you appeal the case all the way to the Supreme Court, but you lose. You write the chief judge, the administrative judge, but they say they won't help you because they're just administrative. You file a complaint with the Judicial Inquiry Board, but everyone turns their back on you. What do you do? This is Lanre Amu's story, and it ended in the suspension of his law license. Welcome to PA Voter Information Network. This is Larry DeMarco, your host. Do you watch my YouTube channel but haven't subscribed yet? Why not now? It's easy and free. Just click the red button and the bell right beside it, and you will be notified of all new content. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. In part 1, we discussed Lanre Amu's suspension hearing, which really wasn't much of a suspension hearing at all. And in this episode, we will discuss one of his complaints against one of the 4 judges, which led to the suspension of his law license.
I filed a lawsuit in that case, a personal injury lawsuit, run of the mill. There was nothing spectacular about it.
Okay.
And I gave it to the sheriff with the summons. When I moved for default, on the date the motion was supposed to be heard, the lawyer did not come. And we got the default, and we got the judgment, and usually I wait about 6 months to try to collect. And then I moved to try to collect on the judgment, and the lawyer called me saying, well, you know what? We don't know who the sheriff served the summons. There is no proper service. What I'm telling you is a true story that links to all that we're saying here. And when she told me that, I believed her. So my client and I went out there to canvass the place. How did this happen? As we were there, the cashier came out and recognized my client because my client lives nearby.
Okay.
He said he was the one the sheriff gave the summons, and he gave it to the owner. And he himself said that he passed the paper on to the proper entity within the company. So through that visit, I knew that they were stringing us along, that there's something wrong, fundamentally wrong here. You know what I did from that point on? I began to take this type of thing, video depositions, because I knew we were going somewhere in this matter.
Oh, yeah.
The lawyers didn't know that I made the trip to try to canvass the place. So they didn't know. Now we know that there was proper service. But so they are telling us, we don't know who was served. That's what they are stringing us. So I knew every deposition in this case is on video, and I have the video as proof in my custody. We went before Judge Egan, and I impressed on Judge Egan that they weren't telling the truth. There was proper service. And I wanted to expose that by subpoena. Every attempt that I made to subpoena was curtailed by Judge Egan. Despite that, anybody that reads the transcript of the proceedings or the other depositions I was able to make can add 2 and 2 to know that there was proper service here. These people were simply lying to the court. They were staging a fictitious defense. We argued the case before Judge Egan. She said there was no service because the cashier, who didn't really know the import of what he was given.
Okay.
I wrote Judge Egan a confidential letter challenging why she's acting in this way. That in light of all of this, why are you ruling like this? That this is corrupt ruling.
How?
I wrote that letter,
And?
not even knowing the major issue in the case, not knowing that there was a conflict in the case, that the defense was her brother's law firm. I didn't know any of that. She should have recused herself, or at least should have told us at the outset.
Yes.
and let us consent. The defense knew this.
But you not.
Judge Egan knew this.
Of course, she knew it.
My client and I
Didn't know.
We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know that this connection was there, but mind you, I knew that the rulings that she was making, how she was handling this, we were simply going through the motions.
Yes.
These are sham hearings.
Of course.
And I documented that in a letter to her, not knowing who the defense was, who she was in relation to the defense.
The brother. The brother and the sister. Oh my goodness.
So once I got her decision, you know what she did? She vacated the judgment, wrote the 2-page decision, then recused herself. Then Judge Maddox, who is the next to the chief judge,
Yes.
assigned the case to Judge William Taylor, who is an African-American judge.
Okay.
So if I filed a motion to reconsider what Judge Egan did, I couldn't go back. I could never go back to Judge
her,
Egan again.
no.
I had to now face Judge Taylor. But Judge Taylor is never going to reverse.
No, she
The
already
two-page
she already made her decision.
Right. After filing all the briefs, you know, the appellate process takes about a year. You file all the briefs, you print them. When I got their decision, I was flawed. They will string some case law and they will reaffirm it. Then I began my own investigation. And mind you, this is about 2.5 years after she ruled. And you know what I will find out? I found out that this defense law firm, Matthew Egan, is one of the owners of this defense law firm.
It's her brother.
And the judge is Lynn Egan.
That's the brother. Brother and sister. Telling the truth.
When I found this connection,
Yes.
that Judge Lynn Egan,
Is
the sister of one of
the
the owners
attorney.
of the law firm.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Then I took this whole package again. I went to the appellate court. You know what they told me? Oh, we are tired of this case. We're not going to hear this case anymore. Oh boy. Then I said, okay, I'm going to go to the Illinois Supreme Court. They did not take I moved for writ of certiorari. It was not granted. So that's where the whole process, the whole process took about 4 years now, leading to nowhere. And I said, how can Judge Egan do this?
Lanre Amu and his client received no satisfaction because the judge acted with impunity. The Judicial Inquiry Board of the state gave no protection to the public because the only people it protected was the judges it was supposed to discipline from ethical misconduct. After this incident, he publicly criticized the judge, the 4th time he criticized a judge in 9 years, which led to the sham hearing described in the previous episode, and it ultimately led to the suspension of his law license. As a rule, any individual or any institution that's not held accountable for its behavior will be susceptible to committing abuses or corruption, and judges have an extremely high amount of power with almost no check on their power. Lanre Amu is a brave and tragic example of someone who tried to fight for justice and stand up for his clients. Any judicial oversight has to be performed by individuals outside the judicial system. Without such accountability or reform, we are not free as a society when we enter our local courthouses. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. If you like this episode, please click the like button and forward this link to all the people on your contact list and Facebook friends. I am signing off. Tune in next time. Bye for now.